Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu ala nabiyil ummiyi. I wanted to share a feel good story that happened basically today, and also wanted to share some of the related wisdoms with it and any lessons that we can learn from it. So, just today morning, a young man came and he came to grab a book from me, and it was Basics in Islamic Aqidah and Worships. So the story behind it was he wanted to revert to Islam, and how he was introduced to Islam was that he was interested in marrying a Muslim girl, and the family was hoping that he be introduced to Islam because they were very hesitant to have their daughter marry to a non-Muslim. So, and he was coming from a Christian background. So they somehow it got through to me that I should go and speak with him. So there was an event or like a family gathering, and I went to see the young man and I spoke to him, and he was very impressed and surprised at how much overlapping there was in the amount of love, respect we have, and high regard we have for Isa alayhi salam, and with regards to even our belief with regarding to Isa alayhi salam and how he will return by the end of times. So he was very interested in Islam, and as after we finished speaking, I told him if he was interested, he can get back to me and I'll share some material with him. So that was a few days ago, maybe like 10 days ago. So he reached out, and I had the book ready for him and gave it to him today. And just in the lobby, he's like, "Oh, can I? I'm also interested in becoming a Muslim." So I was happily impressed and surprised. So I said, "Sure, let's do that. We can do it at the mosque, or even if he wanted, we can even do it just right there in the lobby." It was a quiet place. So we stood there and basically read the Shahada together, went through the translation, and clarified some of the Aqidah things. And Alhamdulillah, he was very happy to accept Islam. And it felt more relaxed, especially his conversion, because what happens sometimes is people want to become Muslim on the same day as the sometimes when the nikah is planned. So it becomes almost like a joke, a guy or a girl interested in marrying, and then they're just assuming this in one situation the girl's not a Muslim, so she'll basically become Muslim on the day of the wedding. It's almost like some people call it drive through Islam. So she'll just drive through by the mosque, swing by the mosque, and become Muslim on the way to the wedding hall. So generally those kind of conversions, they're hard to see a good outcome out of it because it wasn't done properly, it was done haphazardly. So it's better for, if anybody's interested in getting married to somebody who's not at the moment a Muslim, then it's better to pace it and take it easy and let the person come into Islam with their own will, not as a pressure of the wedding, the nikah, because generally that's going to be quite fake. And now that we kind of touch on the topic of loving someone and wanting to marry them, so that comes to the topic of love marriage. So there's a very clear hadith that talks about there's nothing greater than for two people who are in love than to just get married. So there is some leeway in Islam for love marriage, although that is not the primary way of finding somebody to get married to, just looking at someone and falling in love with their looks and making that the deciding factor. There should be way more to the search than just looks. And in fact, generally people look at arranged marriage as the opposite of love marriage. But there's a very interesting hadith where a Sahabi was asked to go and look at the person that he's proposing to, that in the hopes that once he looks at the girl that he wants to marry, then that would spark love and give them continuous love in the future. So it shows that even an arranged marriage, the basis of it should be love. So look at it how you will, but it's basically encouraging that even an arranged marriage should be a love marriage, in the sense that they should see each other, so there is some familiarity and attraction. But that's not to say that any claim of love is automatically love, because at times it's just lust or infatuation. A person is amazed by how someone looks, so now they want to marry them, and many times it becomes just a matter of lust, and it wears off after a short while. There's a funny story with wisdom in it. In some Arabic poetry books, this incident is mentioned, that a person approached a woman who was of good looks and told her that he loved her. So she right away knew this person is just being lustful. So she tested him and said, "My sister is walking behind me and she's better looking than me." So as soon as the man, following his lust, looked back to see who else was coming, the woman took that opportunity to hit him. I think it was with a shoe or something. So she hit him and said, "See, you lied. You said you had love, but you actually are lustful. You're just looking for anybody that looks good." So there's a lot of thought to be put into what generally is passed as love, but it's actually lust. So may Allah give us tawfiq to have clarity in these kind of incidents. And as a last thing I wanted to mention is, we should always be careful, especially with younger people that we are advising or talking to. If they want to marry somebody who's new to the faith, then they should be really careful that, and be very cognizant, not rush into the whole thing, but actually be careful and see that the person is willingly accepting Islam, or is it just the rush of the moment and the emotions are getting in the way of the person converting to Islam shortly before nikah. And generally, it's always better to find somebody who's more grounded in faith, whether that be a older revert, or somebody who was brought up as a Muslim and is very well grounded in deen. May Allah give us tawfiq to always part wisdom and guidance. Jazakumullah khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.